Talk to me in the language we both understand.
It's really great to see you here again, Adam, and your beautiful collection. And this time you are inspired by the Beach Boys, hints of that. And can you tell me about that?
Well, it started off with me going through the archives and picking up the fact that, Guy was about a lot of color, and I wanted to do color, but I didn't want to do it in such a saccharine, sweet way. With summer collections, I feel that a lot of the edge in a lot of these collections is taken down, and people just sort of kind of fall into the default category of doing transparency and, a lot of these kind of things. And we explored that a lot last season, so the Beach Boys seemed like a good fit as well, because it was also about that sort of spring, summertime feeling, but there was something darker and more, there was a darker undertone in it that I thought was exciting and interesting and definitely new for the house.
Well, I mean, you always bring in some kind of touch that I called the first time I interviewed you Easy Rider, but I would say you bring a lot of biker jackets, this kind of like free feeling, this kind of, I don't know, almost like cinematic feeling into your collections. Yeah,
definitely. The biker jacket is something that I always like to explore and try to build an interesting idea for a proposition every season, because it's one of those iconic pieces in American culture, and I always like that kind of thing to sort of take iconic things and twist them up. It was more cinematic in the sense of it was kind of pulling from memory, from childhood summers at the beach and things like that, and the colors, and then trying to make a new proposition with it. So.
What kind of influences from your childhood then did you put in the collection?
That was kind of it was a weird thing. They just had a biopic on the Beach Boys, so I went and saw that and thought, this is really interesting. You've got this kind of sweet music, and you've got this, this kind of perfect image, and then underneath it all there was this darkness and this trouble, and I thought that I always like a flawed character, and that was kind of the way I wanted to approach the collection. So I mean, that was a big inspiration for me, and then at the same time it was about making sure that we that was a part of it, and that we adhered to codes from Guy Laroche about some of the detailed embroideries, some of the open backs, and then to try and make a new proposition with it, the colors, the prints.
It kind of reminds me of the movie The Blue Velvet, with the beautiful surface and the darkness lurking underneath.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of, I've always been very interested in those sort of, the kind of clean veneer and the difference between it, so definitely.
But what I really think is lovely to see is that the first time I met you was you were doing a presentation here in Paris, and then after you jumped straight to being the creative director of Guy Laroche. How has this transition been for you?
I mean, it was challenging, and it was a daunting task. We had quite a short amount of time for the first season, so I just sort of jumped in and tried to figure out something that was interesting and a proposition to it. And also at the same time, being an American in Paris is a very different, you have a very different sort of outlook, and to try and channel the French culture without making it a parody through an American's eyes is something that I really wanted to do. I didn't want to kind of gloss it up and not have it real, so that's something that I really tried to approach with the house.